what's the story of how that emerged?
Yes, again, emergent curriculum is also a large part of our school. Again, a lot easier with the younger grades when there are more blocks of topics with maybe second grade up, but we still try and take passions of children and then design our curriculum around it. Where other schools I've been in you have your curriculum kind of set out for you to learn, whether the kids are interested in it or not. This way you take something that the kids are interested in and we kind of put it in a bubble, like let's say it is snails right now, they're collecting a lot of snails. We put snails in the middle, and as a teacher, we'll find out a science project of snails and a language project of snails, maybe a math problem involving snails, so that we're taking their interest in designing the curriculum around it. So as you saw on the wall, they've already learned the word gastropods, so these 5-year-olds are running around talking about gastropods, and the inside of a snail, that they have kidney and liver and lungs and how they function and where their eyes are, all these things that they're able to learn. But it's amazing what level of knowledge they can absorb if they're interested in it. That's the main difference. So snails it was yesterday.
So we noticed that the blocks in your classroom, they're not the typical wood-colored blocks. Can you tell us about those blocks?
Yes, we do have, building is a large part of the classroom that I believe is great for them. It not only teaches them great math skills with counting the blocks, but also those architect skills of balancing them. They're all even weight, so one size block that it's double that size is exactly double that weight also. So there's several things they learn, but we also have a great program called Great Artist, and every year for 6 weeks in the school year, each classroom will pick a great artist to study. And you try and pick the artist that's correlating to that year of your children's personalities. And one year we had 11 boys and 6 girls. They were big builders. That's all they like to do. The majority of the class liked to build. So we knew we couldn't pick a Monet as our artist. We wanted something that was appropriate for these boys. And they love building. So we took the blocks and decided on Gaudi, Antonio Gaudi, the famous artist in Barcelona, and studied his Park Güell to the Sagrada Familia, and we did mosaic tiling of pieces. They also did a life size of the dragon fountain that's in the middle of his park. We did a bench like the park and then one of the other pieces was they each made their own hotel or house. I mean, Gaudi is famous for these different, very eccentric, very brightly colored homes, and they took the blocks and they asked to paint them all different colors because Gaudi doesn't use anything plain. And we let them. I think other schools might have prevented that and said, no, we need to leave our blocks plain. And we said, if you want to color them, let's color them. So they took weeks of just pulling out one block, one little triangle, one rectangle, and painted them all different colors, let them dry. And then they built these huge, incredible houses with towers that were balancing almost above my height. And working as a team, they were working to balance planks and everything, and they were brightly colors. And the way we documented that, because we couldn't save all these buildings, is by photography. So we had a parent come in and photograph these incredible homes. Then they did a language piece writing a story about where their home is, who lives in the house, kind of creating characters in a story. So it just turned into above our imagination could ever, from one idea of the kids, and it just spiraled into the greatest things. And these photographs were incredible. Gaudi would have been very happy.
How do you work with the families in the program? How do you bring them into your community that you established?
I think fortunately for having the small class size, another is a large help that you are as a teacher able to have more time to get to know the parents. I know as the larger the class gets and less time with parents, it can be harder, but for us, home to school connection is very important. We like to have a parent email us if their child didn't get enough sleep, so we know the next day how they're going to be at school. But we set up volunteering all year long. We love parents to come in and share maybe a family tradition or a family recipe and cook with the kids, or just a story and come in, because that initiates, that connection for the kids, not only having that time, but other children learning about other families as well. So we're open to that almost all the year. Usually the beginning of the year, we start out with letting them bond to us, and then throughout the year we open it up to parents. We create field trips. We just went to the Birch Aquarium because we were studying sea animals, and lots of parents come to the field trips with us. And then we stay connected by email, and the best thing is each teacher has a blog, and that's fairly new. But it's a live, website, the blog, that we stay connected. I update live video of the children in the classroom. and sending that to parents as well. So daily, you even have grandparents who may not live here for the first time ever can see what's going on in their grandchildren's classroom. So that's another great thing our school allows us to do.
How do you support the transition from preschool to pre-K and pre-K on to kindergarten?
I think the pre-K right now, that is almost their transition. They used to be preschool straight into K, and kindergarten is a very different day than preschool and where they are developmentally. So pre-K kind of is that bridge. We'll start off the beginning of our year looking more like a preschool, just having a little more free time, and the transitions are a little longer, allowing them more room in academics and their time in their learning centers. But then as the year goes on, they are more ready for a more structured day and more, so we call them half-twos, which is kind of a one-on-one teacher time, so that by the end of the year, it looks just like a kindergarten classroom. So they kind of ease into that and then to kindergarten. I think that's an important just for that age, because you're right, there's a very subtle age to being that 4 to 6-year-old. There is a big leap. And then from there on, same thing, each grade. Like kindergarten looks as a kindergarten at the beginning of the year, but looks more like a first grade by the end of the year. I think teachers here know how to kind of ease their whole year into starting out one way and then kind of upping, how they are. So the transitions are pretty smooth here.
Is reflection a regular part of your professional practice?
Yes, we have divisions within the teachers that we meet, and then full faculties. And we reflect all year long of different, maybe the great artists, we wondered how did it go this year? It was a time of the year, great. What were things we could have improved? We even call it in our classroom, we call it the peak and pit of our day. So we have a goodbye meeting and we might ask them, what did you love about your day and what didn't go so well? We may ask them at recess, what went well, what didn't go well. So age appropriate, we involve the children in our own classrooms to reflect what worked and what didn't work, what we can change, so it's part of their ideas. As a faculty, we do the same thing. We want to know how to improve it. We're an emergent school in the classroom, but we're emergent as teachers. Every year, so far that I've been here 10 years now, not one year has really looked the same. So each year we change things around to try it a new way or change something that wasn't working anymore. And there's a lot of fluidity. We don't just do something because it's always been done, I say.
Okay. Last question, what brings you the most joy from your work?
Being in a school like this gives me the freedom to have my therapist side with child development. So I have that time to connect with children, work one-on-one with them with a small class size, have a home to school connection, have emergent curriculum, room to develop curriculum that way. That's a big plus. But for me, it's just, I've honed in on this age. I've been working with children, I think 20 years now. And I think that's another part for anybody in education is finding the right connection of your age, because children are at such different stages. And I've maybe had older subs that have worked with older kids and they come in our room and are not quite sure how to connect with the little kids, or I get around teens now and it's been so long. Then I think that's another part. It's kind of knowing yourself and what gifts you bring to the table with children and what ages. It's really important to pay attention to that because they're all at such different stages and there's great things about each one of them. But some teachers might think education's all one, being a teacher's one level. There's many different levels to it. So if you find your passion, then mine is this age. I love the 4 to 6-year-old.
Okay, great. That's
Yep.
it.
That's it.
Yeah, you did great.
I'll be right there and grab that.